Yeah. Um, I'm not gonna be on here long, and I don't expect an audience to really come in, but I just wanted to get on here and give a little recap of tonight's episode of Smackdown. It was a good episode. It was one actually surprisingly, like all things considered, it was one of the better episodes of wrestling television, let alone WWE television, probably of the year. All four matches were phenomenal. Um, there were only two promos really, and it was Cody Rhodes' tribute to Terry Funk and LA Knight's tribute to Bray Wyatt. When I tell you they're putting the company on both of those guys' backs right now, they strapped the rocket to LA Knight tonight, boy. Let me tell you, yeah. Um, when they gave him that microphone and let him talk about Bray Wyatt, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt, rest in peace, Wyndham Rotunda. Such a tragic, tragic loss. I know the whole wrestling community, the whole internet wrestling community, all of my wrestling friends, everyone's going through it. I done text my little brother, and I don't even know if he knew about it before I texted him, and I don't know if he saw my text yet. So I'm a little. He's gonna be devastated when he sees that. Bray was his favorite wrestler the past few years. I mean, it just goes to show you that COVID's still out here. It's not to be played with. It's terrible, terrible loss. Rest in peace to both Terry Funk and to Bray Wyatt. Tragic losses, tragic losses. Not just for the wrestling community, but just in general, man. Bray Wyatt had a lot to. Wyndham Rotunda had a lot to offer outside of wrestling. You know, he had wanted to do horror movies, and he had been working on some things. Very, very, just incredible creative mind. Um, didn't really get a fair shake the last few years with feedback from wrestling fans that weren't really happy with how his last few gimmicks, his last run especially went. But none of that matters at the end of the day. And I always thought that there was a lot of potential there. Just the plug got pulled because the man got COVID, and he got it bad enough that he was off TV for a few months and never really got a chance to see the story through, along with some other things. I think when Vince McMahon came back to the company at the beginning of the year, it's been on record that some of the talent that were supposed to be involved with Bray's Wyatt Six storyline weren't too keen to continue working for the company once Vince came back, all things considered. Um, but people don't see like the big picture when they critique things, or when they're emotionally like passionate about something. You know, wrestling fans in particular aren't the greatest when it comes to critical thinking, or I would say all the things that like I'm passionate about and we're passionate about, my audience is passionate about. Maybe not comedy so much, maybe not like the film industry so much, but wrestling and video games, there's a lot of intersection there where just like I don't know how to explain what I want to say, but it's just pretty narrow-minded, I think is the right word. Pretty narrow-minded from the fans when it comes to, oh, this isn't the way that I want things done. This isn't what I like, so I hate this, and I'm gonna let everybody know I hate it. And it's just the same things we were talking about last night: negative, hate speech and tribalism. You see it a lot with different companies, different video game consoles, whatever. I think it's all goofy. I think it's real goofy. I think there's a lot more to this life thing than I like this, so I hate that, and anyone who likes that, I hate them. It's real stupid. Um, and again, social media kind of contributes to that. Tribalism in society contributes to that. I know when I was a kid and I would go to like wrestling events, I never thought about, oh, this person looks different than me. This person acts different than me. This person, he likes different things. No, whoever was around me, oh, no, we're here together. We're the fans. So it was more community than it is now. Now, I'll give an example. As they were leading into WrestleMania 14, which I attended, I was in 8th grade at the time. They did this event, WWF at the time, WWE did this event where they were promoting WrestleMania 14 in Boston City Hall Plaza. And they set up a ring in the middle of City Hall Plaza, and they had all these, like, I don't know, fans just surrounded the ring. There were hundreds and hundreds of fans there, right? And me and my friends, we skipped school. It was me, my little brother, my friend Fernando, my friend Ryan. I feel like there were 2 other people there with us, but I don't know. It could have just been us 4. And we were right up front and center. We were right in front of where the gate was separating us from the ring. It was a free event. We were there. I remember the matches that took place. It was Taka Michinoku. He was defending the WWF Light Heavyweight Championship against somebody. It might have even been it might have even been the future S.A. Rios. And the Headbangers wrestled. And me and my little brother loved the Headbangers. So it was just such a fun event for us to see, like, you know, talent that we normally, like, appreciated, but we're never in the top of the card. And we always would go to the house shows whenever they would come to the Fleet Center at the time, the TD Bank North Garden now, and prior to that, the Boston Garden in the early 90s, where when we first started going to wrestling live events. Bret Hart, Undertaker. We saw Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake versus Money Incorporated. And it was one of Hogan's last matches in WWF before he left for WCW. It was a house show shortly after King of the Ring that year. But my dad used to bring us to the wrestling events, and then eventually we would start going on our own when we were like 12, 13 years old, 14 years old. And so what have you, we go to City Hall Plaza, and we're in the front row, and then there were some, like, college-age kids behind us, and they seemed like they were so much older and bigger than all of us, but we were, like, joking with them the whole event, you know what I mean? We had nothing to really talk about in common. It was me, my brother, and then a bunch of, like, black and Latino kids with us, and then these white college kids that we thought were just grown adults. So much to the point where one of them was already balding, you know. But everyone was wrestling fans, so we were all together, and we were joking with each other. They gave us paper and marker to make signs. They had signs. It was fun. I still remember a joke that the one, to me, he was the leader of the group. But the guy that was, like, with the paper and the markers, my friend Fernando, when Vince McMahon came out to cut his promo against Stone Cold Steve Austin, because Austin was there, Vince McMahon was there, Shawn Michaels, Mike Tyson, Triple H was there, China. It was the big event where Shawn Michaels got hit in the head with the battery and stormed off before coming back to finish the program. But Vince McMahon comes out to, like, set up the main event program, which wasn't a match, but it was more just promotion for WrestleMania 14. And my friend Fernando, he's yelling. Clearly, we were out of the loop. We didn't realize how rich some of these people were. But he kept yelling that Vince McMahon was too poor to do anything to Stone Cold Steve Austin, because we were big Stone Cold fans. I was a big Generation X fan, Shawn Michaels fan. But he kept saying, "You're not going to do nothing to Stone Cold. You're too po." And he said it like that. "You're too po." And put some flavor on it. And then the college kid behind us says, like, Edgar Allan Poe? And I only knew that name from The Simpsons, from Halloween, whatever, with the Raven. So it was like a light bulb went off in my head. I turned around. I was like, I got that inside joke. And then I looked at Fernando. You heard what he said? To me, it was like one of those moments where everyone was just, like, in sync together. And I don't know, we were just goofing off with those guys the whole time. And then he said that little reference. And to me, it made me feel super smart, which wasn't something that was common back then, because I wasn't the most educated person in school. We went to school to talk to our friends. We went to school to hang out, not to do anything in terms of learning, education, whatever. All that to say, I think tribalism amongst wrestling fans is a little goofy and stupid, the same way I think amongst video game fans is a little goofy and stupid, the same way I think amongst just societies, real goofy and stupid. And tonight was a beautiful episode of Smackdown. I thought not just because it was a tribute show, but all four matches were phenomenal. The two promos were phenomenal. The 10 bell salute at the beginning of the show was phenomenal. It was real beautiful to see Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan out there. I thought it was very telling. I thought it was very telling how, I don't know how many people watched it, but the front row of the 10 bell salute, dead center, you had Triple H, head of creative in wrestling right now in WWE. On both sides of him were members of the Wyatt family. You had Braun Strowman to his right and Eric Rowan to his left. Immediately next to them, Cody Rhodes and LA Knight. If there was ever any way to tell you that, like, these are the two biggest top faces, baby faces of the company, top faces of the company, these are the two guys, we're putting the battery in the back, we're putting the rocket to their back, they're going to the moon. At WrestleMania next year, this is your main event for night one, this is your main event for night two. LA Knight, Cody Rhodes. It was tonight. It was tonight. If it doesn't happen that way, something went wrong. Because you look at the end of the first hour, Cody Rhodes comes out. Does his tribute for Terry Funk, which was so perfect, just in terms of wrestling tradition and Dusty Rhodes and the Rhodes family, the Funk family. Like, Cody Rhodes, his whole gimmick is there's more than one royal family in professional wrestling. You just saw two of them on screen tonight with Cody Rhodes giving his Terry Funk tribute. Beautiful promo by him. Perfect person to give that promo. Very emotional. I thought it was pretty funny that they introduced a hardcore tag team match to have the Street Profits and Brawling Brutes come out, and the only hardcore spot was the table finish. I was joking with my friends during the show. I usually text my friends during wrestling shows, and we'll just goof off, joke around. I said, I think Tony Khan, who's the head promoter and owner of the rival company, All Elite Wrestling, AEW, who has a big event this weekend. I was joking. I said Tony Khan was watching that, and he scoffed at the television. You want to call that hardcore? No. I'm going to show you hardcore this weekend. We're going to take blood donations at the door because our talent is going to need it by the end of the night. I can see it because AEW, they're kind of goofy with some of the way that they go about pro wrestling. They do a lot of blood matches just for the sake of having blood in matches, a lot of weapons matches just for the sake of having weapon matches. Oftentimes it doesn't make sense for television, doesn't make sense for the story. They just do it because the live event crowd will get into it and pop for it. Like tonight you heard the we want tables, and they finally brought the table out. Did an intriguing spot where one of the Brawling Brutes hit or bumped into Bobby Lashley. I told my friend, I said, if they do a Bobby Lashley and Street Profits versus Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes feud, that could be something. That could be something for the next few months, especially heading into Survivor Series. You're not going to see much from that at Payback next weekend, but that card's starting to come together. But maybe in Fastlane, if not heading into the Royal Rumble, that could be a big money feud. Sheamus versus Bobby Lashley. Big meaty men slapping meat. You know the vibes. Good match. Really good tag team match. There were a couple Terry Funk tributes in the match. When Butch Pete Dunne did the top rope moonsault onto both members of the Street Profits. And when Ridge Holland had Butch on his back and did I forget what it's called, the helicopter, where he was just spinning around and had Butch like kicking and headbutting everybody. That was a classic Terry Funk spot, which they even commented on commentary. I forget if it was Corey Graves or Michael Cole. But before I even get into the main event, the Io Sky and Zelina Vega match was pretty great. It was good. They gave, and the thing I liked about tonight's match is they gave every match 10 minutes or more to breathe. Like nothing was just a quick like, all right, we're getting on here and we're getting out of here quick. No, they let all these matches really come together. Rey Mysterio, Grayson Waller was good. That was probably the quickest match, if anything. And I saw someone comment online saying that, it dawned on them that not only was Rey Mysterio opening the show, his match opening the show was probably the smart idea to really kind of like calm the fans down because it was such an emotional night, having lost two legends, and especially after last night losing someone that was not just a legend in the making, but was a contemporary, someone that the fans, current fans, identify with and loved and adored in the way that they loved and adored Bray Wyatt. Having Rey Mysterio open the show in his match was smart money in terms of just, making sure that the crowd kind of got able to get into the show without, being too emotional as they were. But they also mentioned online that the comment I saw that mentioned how smart booking it was to have Ray open the show, that in the past 20 something years of Rey Mysterio in WWE, he's been front and center for a lot of those 10 bell salutes. Eddie Guerrero, obviously integral, that like Eddie Guerrero's passing, they kind of made Rey Mysterio the face of that in so many ways. To the point where he started adopting some of Eddie's moves, and now his son uses some of his moves, which Dominic needs to work on. That little three suplex thing. The Three Amigos, his transition in between suplexes is a little suspect. I hope that they work on that. He's in the Performance Center working in NXT now, so hopefully that's number one priority for them. Because he's going to be a great heel, but he really needs to tighten some of those things up. But yeah, Ray has been there for a lot of those, unfortunately. He's seen a lot of his contemporaries and peers pass far too soon. The Selena Vega and Io Sky match was good. They really moved forward. The Damage Control running the top of the women's division on SmackDown, which I like. I love that Dakota Kai is back. I love that Bayley and Dakota Kai and Io are on the same page now. It makes a lot of sense. You guys have the top title. Keep y'all together until the belt is lost. And then when it's time to win the belt back, now you guys can kind of, have dissension over which one of you is going to be the next champion. Is it Io? Is it Bayley? Dakota's going to be out for a while, but just her presence is awesome to see on screen. I think that their package, the three of them together, is phenomenal, and I know it took some time to really put it together and get the fans behind them, but now that you have the top title, it paid off. It paid off well. But to get into the main event, and this is really what I came on here to talk about, man, when they gave LA Knight the microphone to cut the promo in advance of his main event match with Finn Balor, not only did he rise to the moment, his emotions were right. He didn't come out cocky and arrogant. He came out, and you could see he was serious about everything, and he was taking in that, I'm in this spot right now, and they're giving me the ball to really pay homage to Bray Wyatt's legacy. Not only was I his last feud in the WWE, but now I'm on the rise, and they're giving me the microphone to lead into the main event, which I'm also featured in and going over in. So he cut the promo tributing Bray Wyatt. Beautiful, beautiful, heartfelt. I don't think any of it was kayfabe. I don't think any of it was scripted. It could have been scripted in some ways, but I don't think. I mean, he goes on record and says he kind of just speaks from the heart when he's out there and speaks whatever's on his mind. But it wasn't in character, is what I meant by scripted. His promo about Bray Wyatt, you could tell how much it meant to him in retrospect, having worked with Bray Wyatt on his rise up in terms of his ascension in his current role. Because it was his first big feud. And I know a lot of people didn't love that feud, or love the match at least. But being in that position to do promo battles with Bray Wyatt late into last year, early into this year, the spot on Raw 30 where you had Undertaker, Bray Wyatt, and LA Knight in the same ring together, all of that was preparing LA Knight for where he is right now. And so you can tell that all of that meant a lot to him. Even recently, he's mentioned how much the Bray Wyatt feud meant to his ascension. And this was when we all expected Bray to recover from COVID and make a full recovery, so much so that Bray Wyatt's father, Wyndham Rotunda's father, Mike Rotunda, IRS, even said recently in an interview, Bray's pretty much recovered. He'll be back. And then a week later, he's gone, which is terrible and unfortunate. I think a lot of us have shed tears. As I said, my little brother, Bray's his favorite wrestler, has been for years now. Like every rendition of Bray Wyatt has been my brother's favorite wrestler the past 10, 12 years. So rest in peace to that man, and pray for their family. I kind of lost track right there just because of, the extent of the emotions. The loss is still fresh. I thought it was a beautiful way that they paid tribute to him throughout the night. But having LA Knight give that promo in advance of his main event match, you can kind of tell, like, they gave Cody Rhodes the microphone to tribute Terry Funk. They gave LA Knight the microphone to tribute Bray Wyatt. These are the two guys that we're going to put the company on their back. And rightly so. Because not only did LA Knight cut that beautiful promo just tributing Bray Wyatt and letting the fans get their emotions out and saying, look, we know how connected you guys were to him. Light those fireflies up, light your phones up and what have you, you know what I mean? But also he spoke about Bray's family, Wyndham's family, his kids, his wife, before transitioning into the Miz promo where he got to business and said, look, and honestly, it was probably LA Knight's best promo on the main roster, best promo since the Bray Wyatt feud, and best promo by far in this Miz feud, where he really just dug into the Miz. They had showed the clip from TMZ, and LA just cut into him and got busy and did what LA Knight does on the microphone before ending with another Bray Wyatt tribute that was a perfect bookend to that promo, leading into what was a phenomenal main event match with Finn Balor. There's a lot of stupid criticism on the internet by dumb wrestling fans about how LA Knight isn't the best wrestler in the ring and can't work, whatever. All dumbfounded. You can't really find proof of that. In fact, they look for proof of it by finding botched spots. Oh, a mistake he made here, a mistake he made there. The man's been doing this for 20 years. If he wasn't good, if the only thing he could do was talk on the microphone, he wouldn't have survived this long, let alone got to where he is. Let alone have the company put the company on his back the way that they're doing. This 2 weeks in a row, he put on a hell of a match, by the way. Last week with Austin Theory, really good match. Tonight with Finn Balor, they tore the roof off. What a phenomenal match. The only thing that I would have liked and preferred, there was one move that he does that he set up and he lost, like Finn Balor kind of escaped it. It's his reverse Death Valley driver, which I really enjoy that. And I think if you can keep pulling that move off, it looks so impressive that, yeah, keep doing it. He has the springboard off the top rope moonsault that I've only seen him do with Montez Ford, but it's such a great move. I think he should add that to his repertoire. But what a great way to end the show. What a great way to end the night. What a great episode of Smackdown. I have no criticism whatsoever. WWE is really good in these tribute shows. Unfortunately, they've had a lot of practice with them. You just thinking back to 1999, 98, whenever it was with Owen Hart. That's the first tribute show that I can recall where they just scrapped all plans for the night, kept some matches on, but also gave the entire roster, like, you guys can speak if you want to speak, perform if you want to perform, but tonight's about Owen. You've seen similar things with several wrestlers, Eddie Guerrero, probably second most famously. They rose to the moment tonight. This episode of WWE SmackDown was exactly what it needed to be in terms of paying homage to both Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. All performers they stepped up and they did the thing. Like I said, there wasn't a bad match on the card. They let all four matches really breathe and work themselves out. I think a lot of wrestling fans would prefer WWE allowing those matches like that typically, and not just when it's a tribute show, but, take what you can get. And Payback is really starting to come together. You have the LA Knight Miz match official now. You have, I still don't know if Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory is next Friday or if it's Payback. But my theory on that one is going to be that Santos Escobar, especially after tonight when he put the belt, the United States title on Rey Mysterio, yeah, he's costing him the belt against Austin Theory, and then that belt is going right to LA Knight. Hopefully in Boston, because I'm gonna be there. But I think September 8th, for my selfish reasons, if they want to put the U.S. title on LA Knight that night, please do so, because I'm gonna be in there with my signs and my markers and with my LA Knight T-shirt, and I'm gonna be, talk to us, talk to us. Just like in February when I was in there, Sami Zayn, Sammy. Which, let me tell you, LA Knight wasn't even on Raw, and he wasn't on that episode of Raw. And there were a group of middle school girls sitting behind me, and then there was a group of family sitting in front of me. And the guys, the two dads or uncles or whatever they were, probably in their late 30s, maybe early to mid 40s. Again, the group of girls behind me were all probably 12, 13 years old. And both of them, not in unison, but both of them kept saying all night long, yeah, let me talk to you. They were just, LA Knight was over before this. And so you kind of saw where things were going with him. I thought there was some reluctance at the time. The fact that they had to have John Cena come out and introduce Cody Rhodes when the entire crowd wanted Cody Rhodes all night long. You could see the reluctance in WWE's creative that, we're not sure that they won't turn on him because Sami Zayn's so over right now. Because things like that have happened in the past with CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan rather. But no, the crowd loves Cody. Crowd loves LA. I don't see either one of those things changing anytime soon. And if they were to change, those are the two characters, those are the two talents that could be heels. They can turn themselves into bad guys as quickly as they want to. I just don't think it'll last. I think that as soon as they become popular bad guys, they're going to have to turn good again. Fans are going to love them too much like they do already. So WWE's in a good position right now. I was really kind of even doing fan fiction weeks ago of how they were going to bring Bray Wyatt back with my friends. So it's devastating, man. It's a reminder, and it's a harsh reminder to... I saw something on TikTok yesterday. It was a clip from an interview. I don't even know who the person being interviewed was. It was a non-wrestling thing. It was more inspirational, the clip itself. But the person speaking, he had said, we never know when our last moment with somebody is going to be. So try to make it as peaceful, as positive, as graceful, as appreciative as possible. And like I had said recently on here, my father, he's on his way out. He's stage 4 pancreatic cancer. After having survived a whole mess of things in the past 10 years. So me and my family have kind of been preparing for my dad's passing for a while now. And now it's ahead of us. Now we're here because he survived, complications with diabetes. He survived heart disease. He survived diverticulitis. He has survived all types of things. And then cancer caught him. Fortunately, we have time, They let us know there's a timeline, so we get to spend moments with him and appreciate the time we have. All of the losses I've endured in life prior to this, I had no warnings. My great-grandmother, she passed because of old age. I had spent my entire life with her. She raised me. I lived with her up until she was in the nursing home. And that was something that neither of us wanted, but she just felt, because I was in college at the time and I was leaving school to go back home. I was living off campus with my grandmother. I would leave college to go to be with her. But then the hours I wasn't with her, if things would happen, she wouldn't have anybody. Like, she had fallen a couple times and I got home and I had to pick her up and whatever. And You know, that was the most important person in my life, so it was rough having to let go of her. Something I still struggle with today, but I'm comforted knowing that she's still with me. And I've not only just had I have proof that she's still with me. I've had reminders that she's still with me. I'll talk about it sometime, but I had a psychic medium pass a message through other family members that were seeking closure for other things. And the only message they got was, the person y'all want to talk to ain't ready to talk yet. But this person wants this other person to know she with him and he's good. And it was kind of just using her nicknames for me that my mother and aunt wouldn't really know. So the fact that when they presented that information to me, I was the only one that would have known that she was talking to me. So yeah. Just because someone's not here anymore doesn't mean that they're gone. It means that they're there with you and you have someone on the other side that's in your corner. More often than not, it's the people that, you know, watch over you when they're here, that watch over you when they're there. I don't want to get too deep into that right now. That's not the point, the purpose of tonight. I'm kind of done talking about wrestling, but I'm trying to see if there's anything else I want to talk about before I wrap up. I got cat hair on my face. That's why I keep scratching my nose. I don't have a cocaine problem. I talk all the time about how whenever I've been around people that have whipped cocaine out in front of me, I'll be like, what the fuck are y'all doing? I used to hang out at a bar where people used to go downstairs to the bathroom and do cocaine. I always be like, the alcohol ain't enough. You need something else to really get you in the mood. That's rough, by the way. I might need to explore this at some other point, but when you need one vice to balance out another vice just in order for you to you know, be social, it might be a problem, man. That might be a warning sign. But yeah, like I said, saw a video yesterday kind of talking about you want to make sure every single moment that you spend with people, you don't know if that's going to be your last moment with them, so make sure that you're as graceful, as peaceful, as you know, I forget what the words were specifically, but basically as present as possible, and don't hold grudges against people that you love, because you might not get a chance to mend that bridge, to mend that relationship, unfortunately. So yeah, I ain't gonna take up y'all time. I'm out of here. It's 33 minutes, sound like enough to me, but keep your heads up, keep your hearts open, stay blessed. Whatever you're moving towards in life, whatever you're striving for, whatever goals you have, every single day is a reminder and a second chance, as long as you're here, to push forward towards those goals. Don't get too discouraged. Don't let the haters, don't let the people that want to break you down and discourage you, don't let them win. More often than not, that discouragement comes from a place that's inside of them and it has nothing to do with you. So keep moving, keep pushing, keep thriving. All right. Love, light, blessings always. I'll talk to y'all. Peace.